The college football experience, Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2025 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at underdogfantasy.com with our promo code TCE SGPN. Once again, underdogfantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
Hey, everybody. Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this. Let it ride.
Football experience, Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2025 season preview episode, youtube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button as we break down all 136 FBS teams with the solo podcast for every single team in the land. We put it, and if you're wondering how we're doing it this year, we put it in a randomizer. So it is ironic that we're on our third Indiana school, 22 episodes into this thing. Yeah, I don't know. Blame it on the randomizer. Isn't that a song? But look, folks, if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Well I don't get.
Great Lou Holtz, baby.
But they're counting down 7-6-5.
Oh, this is a Holtz episode. Skip played there. Luke coached there. Let's go. And shout out, if you've been following us over the years, shout out to my buddy Dano Carter, great comedian, friend of mine, who's previewed. He's an alum. He's previewed the Irish with me the past couple years. Don't worry, we're still gonna squeeze one in, 2.0 edition at some point, so you can get his takes on the Irish. I'm your leprechaun. I am joined by my co-host. You've heard him on the College Basketball Experience, so subscribe over there. But yeah, give it up for former staffer at Austin Peay with the Governors, at South Carolina with the Gamecocks, and at West Virginia with the Mountaineers, Ryan McIntyre, a.k.a. Monette Lod. Mac, how are you, brother?
What is up, man? Let's talk some Irish football. I'm your leprechaun.
Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
Yes. And one of the more exciting teams to talk about, I would say, just because you kind of had that break, lost in all of this. In a way, you could kind of make the case that Notre Dame had a very Ohio State style season last year. Ohio State, their fan base wanted Ryan Day fired after that Michigan loss, another loss to Michigan. And Notre Dame, I think if you go back to September 7th when Northern Illinois knocked them off after Notre Dame had such a great win at Kyle Field there against the Aggies, I think I saw several people, and I'm talking people that I know follow that, like former beat writers for the team, you know what I mean, saying he's got to go. But they respond the next week by taking down arch rival Purdue 66-7. And then they kind of went in FU mode. I mean, the Louisville game got a little dicey, but they kind of went in FU mode and just started destroying teams. I know they took on Georgia Tech without Haynes King, I believe. Or did King play that game? I can't remember.
No, he didn't play.
Yeah, he didn't play. That's what I thought. Okay. But they destroyed the academies. They whooped Florida State's ass. Always hilarious there. And then the USC game. And then, they kind of just rode all of that momentum to the playoffs. Took down the Indiana Hoosiers. I know we argued that maybe that game should have been in Bloomington, but I still think they would have won it wherever. But it would have been a lot more dicier if it was there. Then they took down Georgia in the Superdome there. And then the Penn State game, what a fucking game that was. And then all the way to the national championship where they lost to Ohio State, but it was kind of a breakthrough season, man. First ever 12-team playoff, and Notre Dame ends up having such a great run. But in a way, a lot of comparisons to Ohio State. How fitting is it that's a team they lost to? But I think they relaxed on the Marcus Freeman front, right?
Oh yeah. He that was a hell of a year, and that was a hell of a run. They didn't get a cupcake run either. I mean, to beat Indiana the way they did, I know Indiana kind of dressed it up at the end, but they dominated that game. And then to beat Georgia in SEC country down there in the Dome, and really that wasn't really a game in my opinion. I thought Notre Dame controlled the line of scrimmage, dominated from the beginning, and then they were banged up like hell against Penn State and still found a way to win. And you know, they could have laid down against Ohio State when they were down 3 scores, but they've battled all the way back out into a 1-score game. Just an unbelievable job by Freeman. I mean, after that Northern Illinois game, I was like, man, he better start turning this around. You can't be losing to Northern Illinois and Marshall, but he shut me up quick.
Well, that's what. Look, I know some people bitch about this, and I see both sides of the coin. But I you know me, I think a bigger playoff, more. You know, I think you should be awarded that mulligan, because before you had teams that would just have magical runs. You know, for every team that was like, well, the regular season there was, you know, is the playoffs here. There's plenty of examples of like a team just getting a pass for one loss in the old format. Now I think it's better to have, you know, multiple teams be able to get that. I know that's still you know, an amazing win for Northern Illinois that they'll cherish forever. But you know, I think it's a fascinating time to be a Notre Dame football fan, and I think they have the sweetest deal in sports as an independent. A lot of people say they should join a conference. I push back. I actually think more teams should go independent. I don't know about you, but you look at Notre Dame's path. You know, this year's schedule I do think is harder than last year's schedule, and we'll get to it. Go game by game, you know, on this episode. But Notre Dame's got a very sweet deal, as far as I'm concerned. They don't have to play the conference championship. Yes, they have a tough schedule, specifically this year, I would say, but it's still a sweet deal. And there's talk with this, you know, expanding to 16 teams potentially, which we'll see if we get there, that they would even be able potentially to do away with the fact that Notre Dame would have to play the play-in game. They might even get the bye.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it's you know, when you look at the numbers from financially last season, you know, those other schools had to split that money with the conference. Notre Dame just like, yeah, we'll just take our check. We'll take our check. You know, we're good. So that is to me one of the sweeter deals in sports right now. So I think that all benefits Notre Dame, and I think it's a bright time to be an Irish fan. So look, we're going to talk all about all that, but I want to let you know you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and yeah, we're brought to you by us. Yes, SGPN. Team previews are back for college football, 136 of them. So tune in, all right? Myself, Pick Dundee, and Moneyline Mac there preview every single FBS college football team. You don't want to miss it. So subscribe, tell a friend, and remember, as always, to let it ride. All right, let's just jump into the slideshow, Mac, because if you're listening to this, that's fine. But the visual presentation, I do think, adds a nice little element to it. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, 9-4 in 22, 10-3 in 2023, and 14-2 in 2024. The program seems to be rolling 33-10. Mac, where are you at? I know we just kind of talked about this, where these people kind of were fed up with them for a little bit. No, hell, you know, I think we have a quote for, I think a former president might have hit the Marcus Freeman experience with this.
I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
It is easy to see a tide turn. So all those haters, I think they're okay with Marcus Freeman now after a run like that. But I really think you look at Brian Kelly and what's going on down there with this fake accent in Baton Rouge. This is like best case scenario for a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah. The former coach said he had to go down to Baton Rouge because he couldn't win a national title at Notre Dame. So then Marcus Freeman in year 3 goes to the title game, while Kelly doesn't even get
through a 12-team playoff too. This wasn't just like before when they just put Brad Kelly in that shit. He had to earn it. So respect. I think it's fucking hilarious. And yeah, you look at the recruiting, the way that they, to me, getting Denbrock back, I thought was huge, but I think he's doing a phenomenal job. I don't know how anyone can. I mean, sure, you'd like to not have the Marshall and Northern Illinois losses, but I mean,
or Stanford. Remember the Stanford one?
Stanford always kind of fucks with them. I feel like
three out of his like 8 losses are by when he's like a 3 to 4 touchdown favorite. So it is pretty wild. But I mean, he's been really, really good as an underdog coach. I mean, we went through those wins that they knocked off. So yeah, Marcus Freeman doing a great job, and I agree with the chat. He's really hired the ceiling for them. I think that they've really done a good job with NIL. They've done a good job with recruiting. And they're keeping guys in their program and paying guys that produce, and then obviously doing a good job with 1-year rentals like Riley Leonard last year. So overall, just a great job by
Sam
them.
Hartman the year before.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you got to say right now it's been A+. He's gotten better every single year. So I don't know how you say anything negative. I mean, sure, you'd like to win some bye games, but okay. It's all part of the process. All right. The offense a season ago, Mike Denbrock, getting Mike Denbrock and having Gerard Parker leave for Troy, another blessing in disguise, if I'm being honest. Denbrock coming back. Remember, he went to LSU with Brian Kelly and his family for a season, I think it was, maybe 2. And then he jumped back to the Irish. And I think he's a very good offensive coordinator. So you saw last season 10th in scoring offense in the nation, 101st in passing, but they did that quarterback power with Riley Leonard all the time. 19th in the nation in run offense and 55th overall. Now, I'm going to ask you. Well, let me wait because I want to say, do you think those numbers will be better? Well, they return 5 starters from a year ago, 3 on the offensive line. That offensive line is going to be
maybe the best unit in America.
You can make a case. I'm fascinated by that A&M game because I think those are 2 of the best 5 offensive linemen or offensive line groups in college football. But bringing 3 back there. Obviously, Jeremiyah Love, who I think if I had to cast a vote, I think is probably the best running back in the nation. I'm trying to think. I mean, I know Jamal Haynes, we talked about, he's a baller at Georgia Tech, but I think Jeremiyah Love's probably the best running back in the nation. Maybe the best running back in the nation behind the best offensive line, arguably, in the nation. And Jaden Greathouse is back at the wide receiver spot. It was pretty good. They went out in the portal, and that's a thing that they've been doing better to me, too, is the way they utilize the portal. They brought in wide receiver Malachi Fields from UVA, wide receiver Will Pauling from Wisconsin. Both those guys penciled in to start for them, and tight end Ty Washington from Arkansas, who is on the schedule. Not a lot of guys, but perhaps the right guys coming in the portal on the offensive side of the ball. But I think the big question is, and you've seen this, I am a little bit. So the question I was going to ask you is, will the offense be better this season? So Steve Angeli, remember he came in during the the Penn State game, I think it was.
Yes.
And he looked great. Played his ass off. Well, he was a late transfer to Syracuse, who was on the schedule, by the way. So Lloyd Carr's grandson, who was a 5-star recruit, CJ Carr.
Yep.
Comes in, and he's the penciled in day 1 starter. So I think it's a very valid question, Mac. Will the offense be better than 55th overall? And can the passing offense, which wasn't a great passing team a year ago, be better than 101st overall with a redshirt freshman starting at quarterback? Assuming, I think he's going to get the start, but what do you think?
I think them not bringing in anybody in the portal tells you the keys are Mr. Carr. So I think they want him to be the starter. That's everything I read and hear, that he's going to be the starter, and it's going to be his show. And and we'll see how he does. I mean, he's super talented, but I mean, as we see, you got to go through it one or two times, and you get better and better each and every year. Riley Leonard was a grown man. Sam Hartman was a grown man. So he's younger, but he's more talented, those guys. He's different. I think they're not going to be as good on the ground from a maybe statistical standpoint, even though I do think Love may be the most talented running back in America, and they got other guys. I mean, they only give Love the ball 15 times a game. But those short yardage packages for Leonard, I don't think that will be what Carr does. They'll depend more on their backs, but I think their passing attack will take a step. And Fields from UVA is good too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated by this because I actually think this is one, like, we've been previewing all these teams, and you have a team that just looks so sound everywhere else.
Yeah.
And now you're counting on not only a redshirt freshman who's never started a game before, but also he's the grandson of Lloyd Carr, the legendary coach, won a national championship at Michigan. I think the offense, but the schedule's a little bit harder, and I know we're going to get to that, and if you're just tuning in, you haven't looked at the schedule yet.
They're going to be different.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah, like I don't know if it better or worse, or it's just going to be different. They don't have Riley Leonard's legs.
Yeah, and I think, and not only legs, Riley Leonard rarely made mistakes.
Tough.
Yeah, I'm talking like throwing the ball. Call it conservative, whatever, but he didn't kill you that often.
Yeah.
A redshirt freshman has me concerned, even though I know he's a 5-star, even though he's probably really fucking good. I think it's I'm going to say similar. I'm going to say in the similar range, but I definitely think I'm going to say the passing offense will be better than 101st. Question is will the overall offense be better than 55th? And I think it'll be in that range. I'll say yes. I think they're going to be better than 55th. The defensive side of the ball is another question. Well, first there's Jeremiyah Love there. 21 touchdowns in his career with the Irish, 1,500 yards.
They need him to stay healthy this year too. He was banged up at the end.
He's such a beast too. And then Greathouse, 60 receptions, 857 yards in his 2 years with the Irish. Brettster, no, he did not replace Bo Schembecker. That was Gary Moeller. May he rest in peace. Then it was Lloyd Carr. The defense. So this is Al Golden's gone. Where did he go? Cincinnati Bengals again, I think.
He's always on the move, isn't he?
He stays moving.
Yeah.
But they go out and hire Chris Ash from Rutgers there, and I like the hire. The defense a year ago, 4th in the nation in scoring defense, 4th in pass defense, 49th in rush defense, 11th in overall defense. Man, this is tricky too to me. I think the defense is really good. And Marcus Freeman's a defensive guy, actually. The more I think about it, I'm not even going to panic because they're probably going to do a lot of things they still did last year.
Yeah.
Freeman probably had his hands on that defense with Golden. I think Chris Ash is a good defensive coordinator too. So I'm very curious to see if maybe he's a little more aggressive. I don't know, and Notre Dame in general was a team, you touched on it with Jeremiyah Love. They were a team that was dinged up last year. So, to make the national championship the way they were injured, key injuries in the secondary, key injuries in the offensive line, key injuries in the backfield, and to be able to have the run that they did, quite amazing there. Do you think this defense, so you look at the returning production there, you got 3 guys on the defensive line that have started a bunch of games. Boubacar Troy is a fucking beast. Drake Bowen there at the linebacker spot back. Christian Gray at the corner spot, really good. Adon Schuler. Or Aiden Schuler, I think it is. Adon. Punter James Rendell back as well. Mac, they hit the portal, of course. And they brought in talent. Elijah Hughes from USC.
They're on the schedule for now.
I mean, that's just filthy, though. Don't we have rules as a society? Yeah, I know that. Then, by the way, please, I know it's not Notre Dame though. It's USC being little bitches. So we're on Team Notre Dame here on that side of things. Jared Dawson comes in from Louisville. None of these guys are going to start. I don't think. I think it's just key reserves. But these two will start. Devontae Smith coming in from Alabama in the secondary will start, and same with Jalen Stroman from Virginia Tech, penciled in to start. And obviously kicking Noah Burnett from Mac Brown in North Carolina. He's their starting kicker as far as I know. Mac, you think the defense will be better in we know the schedule's harder.
Yeah.
They're bringing in a new DC. I don't know if the defensive line's as good as it's been over the past few years, but I still think it's a pretty good defensive line. I'm going to say no.
Well, I mean, they were a top 10 unit last year, so it's hard to be better. But they may take a little bit of a step back just because Ash is coming over. He's been in the NFL the last couple of years. He's an Urban Meyer guy. Just looking at his track record, but I mean, we also have to know who the head coach is. It's Marcus Freeman, and I think people forget. We just think of how good he's been at Notre Dame. He was the defensive mind for that Cincinnati defense with those playoff fickle teams. So he's been good wherever he's been on the defensive side of the ball. So that's their identity. They take after their coach. He played at Ohio State on the defensive side of the football. So I think that they'll be solid. They do have a lot of continuity coming back. Devontae Smith is a nice ad from Alabama. It kind of threw me off when I saw Devontae Smith because I'm like, wait a minute, he plays for the Eagles. But no, the defensive Devontae Smith.
They have a rule. They just recruit whoever's. Open up the fucking phone book. Wait, do they still have phone books? My thing is, I don't know that the defense will be worse. I think it will be a little bit worse. But I think definitely will it be worse numbers wise, because I think the schedule's harder. I think you're playing better offenses. You can make an argument. I mean, I'm going through. So A&M was kind of a mess. They caught A&M game 1.
Yep.
That offense was not. It wasn't even great towards the end of the season, but it was sputtering early in the year. Some of that was Notre Dame's defense, but some of it also was A&M's offense. In general. And then they caught Will Haynes. They caught Haynes King. They had no Haynes King for the Georgia Tech game. So I think this year's schedule, if assuming everyone's healthy, will be just much harder in that regard. So I think the defense will still be a very good defense. Don't get me wrong, but I just think though the statistically will probably drop off a little bit there. All right, we're going to talk about the state of the program. But before we do that, I want to let you know that the college football experience is brought to you by Circa in downtown Las Vegas. Have you not been to Circa? Biggest sports book in the world. Stadium Swim's incredible. Look, Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their entire stay. They're going to pick you up from the airport in a limo, which will have booze, of course. A $5,000 food and beverage tab at Stadium Swim where you can host your fantasy football draft if you'd like. And a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. There's also a couple other bar deals they're going to hook you up with. It's an unbelievable deal. Enter the ultimate fantasy football contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's CIRCA. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. And look, if you're interested in just checking out the world's greatest sportsbook or any of the Circa properties, I know they have Reno, they got Illinois. There's a bunch. All right. If you just want to go, you can always get 15% off at any Circa property with our promo code SGP15. So check it out and let it ride. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including college football win totals, Stanley Cup, NBA Finals, College Baseball World Series. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations as well. Even outside of the States, you can easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using crypto. So head on over to MyBookie.ag. But when you do use our promo code, TCESGPN, for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply, of course. That's MyBookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back on the college football experience. Mac, Notre Dame's rolling along. They had a great season, but we do the state of the program here, right?
Something tells me you're gonna like this state.
Oh, fuck yes, man. Fuck yes. I
This is a
have
good
been
one.
to this fire stadium. Notre Dame Stadium, 95 years young, 10 of 10. This is
It's a gem.
this is why college football will always be king. They created a goddamn sport. It is them. College football will always be king as long as they have stadiums like this. All right. If you haven't been, you got. First off, what do I tell you on all these episodes? Fuck these NFL stadiums because they all look like goddamn shopping malls. A stadium is supposed to look like a castle. It is yours to defend. You think you're going to come in here and get that win? Not going to happen. Look at this beauty. That is what I'm talking about. Think you're going to walk in there and get that dub? No. All right. Look at this thing. This is college football done right. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's got history. It's got tradition. It's got awesome. Look, and what I love too. Now they need to go back to grass. I will say this. They used to have natural grass. They need to go back to the natural grass because the natural grass gave it such a better pop, in my opinion, on screen. And obviously it's player safety, but people say they care about the players. But player safety, come on, go back to natural grass. But I love the fact the end zone's got the parking lot, the slashed paint, right?
The one-way parking spots.
Yeah, they got the touchdown Jesus stuff going on. This is college football done awesome. Need to go back to natural grass, but I'm still giving it 10 of 10. You got the fucking, look at this. You got just history everywhere. Newt Rockney shit, Ara Parsegian, just everything that is great about the sport of college football. And even if you hate Notre Dame,
exactly.
I feel like you got to love this. You got to love this, right? 10 of 10 to me. I almost thought about giving it a 9 because they got rid of the natural grass. But then I thought, man, okay, they can straighten that out. It's still royal. It's regal. It looks everything great about what a college football stadium, what a football stadium should look like, in my opinion. This thing, it's just fire. And storm the field. I always storm the field. You got to do that. Mac, what do you give this thing 1 to 10?
Was that the COVID? That was the COVID year.
They stormed the field during COVID against Clemson.
That was the game
Clemson.
where our stupid people lost their fucking minds, and then Trevor Lawrence couldn't play, but he could stand on the sideline. Then everybody stormed the field. I go, yeah, this makes a lot of fucking sense. Jesus Christ, stop the bullshit. Yeah, dude, this is a gem. You saw it right from me. Even if you hate Notre Dame, which they're an easy team to hate and an easy program to hate, this is a gem. This is a great fucking stadium.
Look at that right there, dude.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's a lot of history, a lot of tradition. Seats 80,000. I think they can jam a couple more thousand in that thing, especially when the bigger games at nighttime. So yeah, this is a 10. This may be the best stadium in all the country.
You can make that argument. You can look at this beauty. Come on. It's just fire on all accounts. Even if you're a USC fan or a Miami fan or whoever, Big Ten fan who hates Notre Dame because they won't join, even though you were bastards to them back in the day. This is just college football done right. Touchdown Jesus. You see it right there. Touchdown Jesus there in the back there. 100%. 10 of 10. Go to a game. You plan your week around this. You got the Legend Sports Bar, which is right across the street. Joe Theismann's a friend of ours, so he's been on the show a bunch of times, and he's told us all the spots. Obviously, Mike Bray. Remember Mike Bray at the linebacker?
At the linebacker, baby.
Make sure you check out the linebacker. This is trip worthy. And what's great is you can just fly into Chicago, make the trip. Unique experience, man. State of the program, though. Stadium does matter with state of the program. And obviously Notre Dame is very good at that. Now, I state of the program, Mac, I went 9 of 10. And you're probably like, Dundee, how the fuck? Why'd you not give it 10 of 10? Because to me, they didn't get the natty. Like, if they got the natty, I would have gave it 10 of 10. But, it it's right there. To me, it's like 9.5 right now because Marcus Freeman, I think, is a likable coach. They have to me the best deal in college football with the way for moving forward to the future with the 12 team or 16 team playoff. I think they have an incredible deal where they're going to be hosting and raking in just a shit ton of money based on them probably hosting playoff games almost every year. It's hard not to give it a 10, to tell you the truth. I just thought, man, they need to get that natty. Give me the natty. What do you give the state of the program right now? 9 out of 10. Or I'm sorry, 1 to 10.
I'm giving it a 10. And the reason I'm giving it a 10 is we had before that, like, they knocked down the barrier of Notre Dame can't win a big game against anybody worth a shit. I mean, last year was the first time they won a New Year's Day bowl game or later. I know it's not a bowl game anymore, but like a game on New Year's Day or later since like the 90s. Like they really broke through big time last year. So I'm giving it a 10 because they won 2 of them and they beat.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
They almost
and they pushed around the SEC Georgia. I don't give a shit.
Oh,
you could talk all you want about the quarterback situation at Georgia. Who cares? The line of scrimmage was dominated by Notre Dame that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't see, you can't go lower than a 9 in my opinion right now.
100%.
Yeah. So it's a good time to be an Irish fan. You had to go with the fucking Charlie Weiss era. Remember that?
Oh, dude,
getting waxed by Navy.
that Notre Dame USC game, the Bush Push game, that's one of the greatest games. I shouldn't say that on the Notre Dame episode.
Yeah, we just got a 1 star. Thank you.
Sorry, don't worry. You guys been tapping their ass for the last 10 years. Those soft ass LA boys.
That's true, but they brought in Rob Ryan. All right, that's the answer. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I am kind of fascinated by that. Look, we're gonna go game by game on the schedule, but before we do that, I want to let you know that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog's going long for the NBA Finals with their extender bonus. The longer the series goes, the bigger the bonuses get. So jump on over there. Of course, they got college football, college basketball action when the season comes. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits there. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. You probably heard me talk about Rhythm over the past year. Well, guess what? They just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. Yes, these are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won, and it has a very large ROI. Think like a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm and Rhythm only. No touts, no noise, just clean data back bets, baby. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know damn well we will be. And don't forget to get your 7-day free trial period. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/rhythm.
Hey, real quick. Has Marcus Freeman made it easier to root for Notre Dame?
100%. We went from Brian Kelly, who was like, look, Brian Kelly's a solid football coach. He's, but he has a big time. He struggles with the big time to me. But let's not. I mean, from Brian Kelly's fake accent to his videos where he's doing like the gun.
Yeah.
Right. But even before that, he was a dickhead. He's probably a nice guy, but like on the field on game day,
yeah,
he comes off like an asshole. The way he yells at players, and actually, I don't know. The way he left Cincinnati always left a bad taste in my mouth. Undefeated season, headed to the Orange Bowl, I think it was, to take on Florida, and you dip out. You preach commitment. You preach commitment, and you say, "Well, I had Notre Dame offer me more money." Well, of course, but you could do like Scott Frost when UCF offered him that money, or when Nebraska offered him that money. He said, "I got to coach the final game. I got to finish this through." Always left a bad taste in my mouth the way Brian Kelly did things. And so Marcus Freeman seems like, he just seems like a good dude. So it's like, by far, he's very likable. He seems like a player's coach, where Brian Kelly's like completely the opposite. So 100%. You agree?
I 100% agree. Because I was just thinking back, like last year, it kind of hit me. I was like, I was rooting for Notre Dame the entire playoff. And I've never rooted for Notre Dame. I hated Notre Dame growing up.
I was too.
I was rooting for them the entire playoff last year, maybe because they were matched up with the Big Ten and SEC, and I wanted Notre Dame to win it. But I think also a lot of it has to do with Freeman. Freeman seems like he's an easy guy to pull for. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Hold on, we got some news apparently. Alcohol drinks will be sold at Notre Dame Stadium in 2025. Isn't that like a story with I don't know if this is true, but I feel like I read this in like a fucking Maxim magazine 20 years ago. That and correct me if I'm wrong, please. I think I read this because you never know when you read like an article in FHM or some shit. Those magazines I don't even think they exist anymore. But
yeah,
it was about like I think like they were shooting Rudy and Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn were both in that film, and that's what kind of formed their friendship. And I want to say I was reading like an interview in the magazine with Jon Favreau, and he was talking about how it was a dry county, I guess, that everyone was staying at when they were shooting Rudy. But I think Vince Vaughn grew up in Chicago or spent some time living in Chicago, so he had like someone drive out booze, right? And so everyone on set was trying to get to Vince Vaughn's. Like he had a very small role in the movie, but they're trying to hang out with Vince to get to his hotel room because they know he's got booze.
Yeah.
Allegedly. That's the story I read. Might be complete bullshit. Someone please correct me if so. But that's awesome. We got alcohol. Let's go. Hit Legend Sports Ball. Hit the linebacker. Get Blitzkrieg. Let's go.
Oh yes.
Week 1, Sunday night, standalone. Now, unfortunately, it's not at the Orange Bowl because Miami's a bunch of bitches, and they maybe the greatest football stadium of all time is now a Florida Marlins stadium where 16 people go to a game each night to watch them get destroyed. Glad to see they really did a great job there. But now they're at Hard Rock Stadium there. Not a big fan of that stadium, but hey, at least we get Catholics versus convicts. This game should be happening every year, in my opinion. Series goes back to 1955. You could make an argument this is the best week 1 game. Now, I know we have Texas and Ohio State. I know we have LSU and Clemson. And I know the real one, East Carolina and NC State. But you can, or Belichick on Monday night on Labor Day. But this one, pretty phenomenal. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Obviously, the Notre Dame Leprechaun are one of the best logos, but also one of the best logos, and I'm saying it should come back, is the Miami Hurricane with the pipe, a la Howard Schnellenberger. They got rid of the pipe. You know, they actually thought that people were seeing the hurricane and saying, you know what? I'm going to start smoking. That was the connection. They go, look at this guy, this fucking hurricane with the bright ass orange shirt, and he's got some bandages over his face. And you know what? He smokes a pipe, and that's bad. That's telling the youth to smoke. I'm not buying that one, Mac. But this game is awesome.
Sunday Night Football.
You got, the CJ. This is the hardest thing about Notre Dame season. CJ Carr, you just don't know. Like, yes, we know he's a big time recruit. He comes from football lineage, so he's probably even better than what we're thinking. But you still just don't know till you hit the road. Now, luckily, Miami's home environment has been complete ass ever since they left the Orange Bowl. It's like what? This shit's like an hour drive away from campus. Now, I will say, if there's one, Miami alums probably will. If there's a game besides Florida State that they want to get up for, this would be the one, I would think, especially standalone Sunday night, no NFL going. Not like the Dolphins have any good fans anyway, but I'm kind of fascinated by it because Notre Dame fans will travel, man.
Yeah.
Back to my original point, CJ Carr, a redshirt freshman, first ever start, and it's on the road. But is it 100% a road game?
Last time they played there, it was pretty lit for the U. Back in 2017 in Miami, boat race Notre Dame. It was a primetime game.
See what happens when you put games on there that there's history. When you put games where they have a rivalry and there's history, it's crazy. Fans start coming, TV numbers start improving.
Yeah.
Instead, they give us Rutgers, UCLA. You know what? No, I just don't like Mario Cristobal in big games, man.
I knew you.
I'm gonna take Marcus Freeman. CJ Carr finds a way. Notre Dame 1-0. Mario Cristobal fine. I know he's got Carson Beck. He's driving first off, he's driving a Lamborghini around. God, like he's acting like he's Stallone in The Specialist. I don't know. They lost Cam Ward, man. They were in shootouts. Like I trust Notre Dame's like DNA as a team. Great defense, great offensive line. We're gonna run the ball. Miami's a little finesse team, man. Give me the Irish. What are you doing here?
I tweeted this out. Miami's one of my 3 home dogs in week 1. I like the U. I like that defense that they revamped. And I just don't like Carr in his first road game at Miami. That place is going to be lit. Standalone game. I think the U get him, man. It's been a house of horrors for years for Notre Dame down there. And Lou Holtz never won there. I mean, they have always struggled down there.
Lou Holtz wasn't going against Mario Cristobal. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson and great coaches.
And another thing that this game is in August. I think it's August 31st or September 1st. So point. Like that heat, man.
That's a good point.
That's a different type of heat early in the year. So
I think that's where swamp ass came from. Yeah. Right? The term swamp ass came from like people either going to the swamp, the Gators games, or just, I like to think of it as the Everglades. I was flying over the Everglades recently and I was just, it was like a perfectly clear day. So I just watched the Everglades from the window of the plane. It's fucking just creepy, like creepy spot. I remember that plane crash a long time ago in the Everglades. So it's like, they speculated that if you lived, the alligators got you because you were bleeding and they blood in the water. Just fucking horrible. But swamp ass. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Swamp ass started. Some people say it started in Baton Rouge or New Orleans. I'm gonna go ahead and say the Everglades. Everglades, the creator of swamp ass. You heard it here first. All right. 1-0. You got Notre Dame 0-1. I will say this. Interesting time to have a bye week.
Yeah.
Week 2. What's the logic here on that you create your own schedule, Notre Dame? I don't know that that's the smartest bye week.
Well, the only thing that it is nice is that they're playing on a Sunday. It would have been a tough 6-day turnaround off that heat against Miami if they had to play A&M. That would have been a brutal.
Well, you could have done
Northern Illinois.
Yeah, I guess actually now I understand the
learned their lesson.
When was Marshall week 2 as well? All right.
After Ohio State.
I take back everything I said.
We're not playing week 2.
I take back everything I said. My apologies. Just look at that. By the way, you see that's Joey T right there. Joe Theismann, friend of the program.
Yeah.
A real football player, man. Dude returned punts. Fucking your quarterback returned punts. That is what I'm talking about. That's a football player. And he doesn't he sell like dick pills now online? Or like late at night, I feel like him and Joe Namath, they're always doing some type of commercials where there's Levitra or something. I don't know. Shout out to Joey T though. Hell of a great guy. Hosted American Gladiators, at least for the first season. All right. They come out of the bye week.
Look at this start to the year.
Dude, this is what's tricky about this is if they don't get that Miami game, week 2 is against Mike Elko in A&M, who just, they want revenge. They the way things went, and he coached at Notre Dame. Marcel Reed, they didn't start him in week 1. Now he's a freshman, and A&M, trust me, they could have brought in any quarterback in the nation because they got real money. But they're content with him. They return. This is I find this is the most fascinating game on the schedule to me because both offensive lines are incredible. Like you can make an argument that like every guy on the offensive line will play in the NFL.
Yeah.
This is my upset. You might have thrown in your bye week to avoid a loss, but Elko, I think that defense, now I am a little bit concerned on the defensive line for A&M. I think Notre Dame could have success running the ball. But I also think A&M could confuse a young quarterback who just might be smelled himself a little too much after winning Catholics versus convicts in your first ever start. And then you had a bye week. Linebacker in's going to be loading up those cocktails. Lloyd Carr would bong a beer with you. All right. A&M upset in South Bend. 1-1. What are you doing here?
I think if Notre Dame drops that Miami game, they're gonna come out firing off the bye week. I think they come out sharp, and I think they punch A&M. I think they sweep them. They beat another SEC team. Notre Dame's owning the SEC lately, baby.
I do love that. I do love that development.
Let's go, Irish. 1-1 for me. I mean, let me ask you this: if they start 0-2. Can they run the table after that? Or they're going to have to run the table?
Well, I will say the backside of the schedule is nice, but the front side, they still have some battles. But like I'm talking after the second bye week, it's a nice stretch. But yeah, it's concerning when you have a quarterback that young. I don't care. I know the offensive line's fantastic. The run game's fantastic. But Riley Leonard played such turnover-free football. Yeah. It is a big question mark is can your young kid, because, say what you want. I don't care what school you're playing at. A freshman is a freshman, right? I mean, yes, you have awesome freshmen, but even with that, like go back to Johnny Football, played awesome as a freshman, right? But you still had moments. You go watch the tape. Certain games, he throws some passes. You're just like, right? And so you worry about that 100%. But so we both got Notre Dame 1-1 after 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Then,
oh God,
Barry Odom.
Not this game again.
And Purdue.
This is their bye game.
Come trotting in to Notre Dame Stadium in a series that goes back to 1896. Yeah. Notre Dame wins by 30.
Notre Dame 45, Purdue 10.
And then.
Oh, boy.
This is where it gets fun. Sam Pulled Pork Pittman in Arkansas. This is the Lou Holtz Bowl. Lou Holtz coached at both these fine institutions. Notre Dame, for the first time ever, taking on Arkansas. Notre Dame's been playing football for 1 trillion fucking years, I feel like. Like the final bullet in the Civil War sounded in like fucking 10 years later, Notre Dame was playing football? I don't know. This is going to be an awesome. I mean, look, I don't know, like, they might just dominate Arkansas, but I just can't get the Arkansas-Tennessee upset out of my system, like from a year ago of like whatever it is about. I feel like Arkansas's wanted Sam Pittman fired like years ago, but he just does enough, and he does enough wins, and I like Sam Pittman. Now, having said that, I will take Notre Dame, but I am kind of fascinated by this game, and I love that. I know they never play, but I love the fact that Lou Holtz, he should be at this one if he's able to. I know he's up there, but
that's Ryan Day how Lou Holtz is doing.
Yeah, I'm still laying minus 200 on Lou Holtz to beat him down there. What are you doing here in this game?
Well, if it was at nighttime, I think I may go Arkansas to pull the stunner because that place is different at night. But it's a noon game. Give me Notre Dame. I think they're too much. And Carr got his one road loss out of the way early.
But this is a real road game.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, the Miami game. Okay, I know it's a rivalry game, but this 11 a.m. Awesome.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what time you schedule this. Our Arkansas fans are drinking. Remember the baseball game a couple years ago when the fucking Arkansas fans just picked up a raccoon that was, or like a possum? It was like a possum
under the bleachers.
Yeah, he grabs it, gets a standing ovation, chugs his beer while he's holding this thing up in the air, and then like 12 hours later checks himself in the hospital with rabies. That's classic.
Yeah, sorry, Arkansas.
Yeah, Notre Dame gets it, but I'm kind of fascinated by that game. It's a sneaky game. But I'm not going to have them losing to both SEC opponents. You kidding me? They get it done. Taylor Green throws a couple pick sixes.
Yeah.
After that, holy shit. Notre Dame, by the way, kudos, man. There's been certain years, and I know my buddy Dano will tell me like I've shit on Notre Dame's schedule sometimes, and I have. This year, I will not. This schedule's legit. Boise State is coming into South Bend for the first time ever they're playing.
This fucking schedule, man.
This game's awesome. The schedule's awesome. And I will take Notre Dame again, but this is an awesome game. This is an awesome game, but Ashton Jeanty's in the NFL. I just thought my thought of the Notre Dame offensive line against the Boise D line, because Boise took some hits on the D line.
Yeah.
But I think this game is still awesome. And I think if Notre Dame, but I don't think Notre Dame's going to overlook this one. I think Northern Illinois and Marshall, who I get it. They have great winning cultures at both those programs. I think Notre Dame will be ready for this one. So Notre Dame gets it done. I got them 3-1. How about you, Mac?
4-1.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, I thought they had a bye, right?
This is game number 5. Purdue was.
I forgot about Purdue. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean this.
The whole world forgot about Purdue a long time ago.
Well, now we just need the return game in Boise. We know that'll never happen. But yeah, this is awesome. I'm glad that they put this on the schedule. I do think Notre Dame too much in the trenches for Boise. Although, man, Boise held their own when they went to Oregon last year. So
they should have won that game, dude.
They
should have won that game if you watched that game.
Yeah. Give me Notre Dame though. Too much in South Bend.
Yeah. Then the Pussy Pack. Whoa. I'm going to say this though, Mac. This is a dangerous game to me because you come off at Arkansas in the Holtz Bowl.
Yeah.
You then take on Boise State, a fellow playoff team from a year ago. NC State's just the type of team that I think Notre Dame is just due for a letdown spot. I will be taking the Pussy Pack in the points, but give me Notre Dame to win. But I think it's a tricky one. I think this is kind of because I just feel like you're due for a letdown at this point. Like if they're playing all those great opponents, NC State just comes off as like a sleepy opponent to me.
Yeah.
Because even the Purdue game's like a rivalry, in-state rivalry. It's supposed to be a sleepy game. This is the sleepiest game, I think, from like a psychological point of view for Notre Dame's fans and for their players. I think this is the sleepiest game. But I'll take the Irish still to get it done.
I'm with you, man. If the game was in Raleigh, if they had to go to Raleigh coming off those games or coming off that little run, then I think I'd be on the Wolfpack. But they're just so hard to beat in that building in South Bend, unless you're Northern Illinois. But yeah, give me Notre Dame. Too much experience.
I really think though, if you're looking for like this year's, like Notre Dame, say what you want. Like we just praise Marcus Freeman, but he has had these like games where the teams just don't show up, whether it was Stanford, whether it was Marshall, whether it was Northern Illinois. To me, if you're searching for the one on the schedule this year, this is the one I'm giving out. Because I'll say something. Look, and I'm an ECU guy, so like I hate NC State. Everyone knows this. But one thing Dave Doran has done well is I do feel like NC State along the line of scrimmage can bang better than most ACC teams. It's the rest that's all fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like on the line of scrimmage, they're actually one of the tougher teams in the ACC along the line of scrimmage. Which I think against Notre Dame you're going to need. So that's why I think they could be live here. But give me the Irish. You're on the Irish too, right?
I'm on the Irish too. I think it's a sneaky spot, but Notre Dame too much at home.
Then after that, oh man, and it's a look ahead spot. The more I think about it, the NC State game is
It's the final USC game. Well,
they haven't announced that yet. Hopefully it's not. USC Notre Dame series goes back near 99 years, and hopefully this rivalry is not ending because they keep trying to blow up college football. They don't know there's like 20 million layers. You can't just destroy it, but they're trying hard. These people, whether it's administration at USC when they're joining the fucking Big Ten or TV execs. Mac, I'm split here. I'm going to say this. They are going to lose to either NC State or USC. I will take a second loss on the schedule.
I think I think it's a bad matchup for USC. And USC will be coming off Michigan and Illinois, so it's 2 body blows games, and then you got to play Notre Dame and South Bend.
I'm saying it could be NC State, it could be USC. I just think the Irish are due for one loss there.
I got one at the back end, or in the month of November. I'm going to circle. Give me Notre Dame to win another one over those softies from LA. Right?
That might get Lincoln Riley fired. That might get him fired. What
over them?
What did one of USC's biggest boosters say? Like, he was going to leave him all of his money, and he's like, "You take Notre Dame off the schedule, you're not getting shit." All of a sudden, shit went quiet in Los Angeles. They're like, "Oh, man." We haven't heard anything after that. We have not heard anything after that, but we'll see. So you got him what? What's that record at this point?
7-1.
And I got him 6-2. Then comes up. This is a smart bye week.
Yeah.
Smart bye week. Shout out to Joe Montana, Tony Rice, legendary Tony Rice. That's when I first started getting into college football. Tony Rice was killing it. And obviously that was the Holtz regime, but then Joe Montana. I mean, how many fucking legends have been a part of Notre Dame? Out of the bye week comes a trip to Chestnut Hill. What could go wrong? The series goes back to 1975. What I'm alluding to is Glenn Foley and Boston College in 93. That was in South Bend, though. Now, I'll say this. This is a sneaky spot, but it's a great bye week ahead of this. Irish go into Chestnut Hill, get the dub. How about you?
This is my upset. Give me BC. BC last year only lost one home game to Louisville by 4 points. They won all their other home games. Under O'Brien, they've been awesome at home. I think BC is going to be good again this year, and this is a tough spot. They beat USC. They're feeling good going in the bye week, and then they get picked off, and then they reset for the stretch run after this. Give me BC in the upset.
There you go. Old school battles going on here. Then the very next week, the Navy midshipman, who I do think is actually a college. Go listen to our Navy preview. We already did the preview. I think they're a playoff contender this year. I think they have a great schedule in the AAC. They return a lot of production. Drew Cronick's offense, second year. Blake Horvath, the whole entire backfield back. Now, having said all that, Notre Dame wins by 31 to 10. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a tough matchup for Navy. Navy and Army, like, they're really damn good, but they just can't. Notre Dame's a horrible matchup. Give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, the series goes back to 1927. They've never played in Annapolis. Notre Dame, please. Come on. How the hell you been playing almost 100 years? Play the game in Annapolis once. All right? Good Lord. Next up, they head to Pitt. Heinz Field. This series goes back to 1909. That's fantastic stuff. But here's my problem with this game. I was looking for possible upsets, and I was like, Pitt could catch them. And then I thought, man, but also this is so late in the year, Narduzzi could be fired by now.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, so it's a tricky spot because I feel like, Pitt at home is capable of knocking off a lot of good teams. Clemson, I feel like, always drops a game to Pitt, I feel like. But I'm going to call for the Irish just because I don't know what the hell Narduzzi, I don't know if he'll be there. At this point in the year, it's a risky game. So I'm going to take the Irish to go into Heinz Field. I still can't believe they got rid of Pitt Stadium too. I mean, they just, all their advantages between this and Miami and the Orange Bowl. The game should be on campus. Now you're throwing this thing way down there. No one's doing Jaeger bombs in the parking lot. Yeah, Irish win. What are you doing here?
Notre Dame. But I do agree. Like, Pitt has fucked with Notre Dame in the past. I mean, I remember the 1 year Brian Kelly, it was undefeated season, and it took them like 3 overtimes to beat them.
Well, Pitt always is more talented than you realize. This is why sometimes recruiting rankings can be a little bit of a lie because Pitt just constantly puts dudes in the pros, and they're always on they're very sound on the offense and defensive line. If anything, it's more like Narduzzi's game management that kills Pitt, I feel like, in many situations. But that's why it's a dangerous game, is because I do think Pitt can bang. It's similar to NC. They get some of these ACC foes that actually are not finesse teams. Like NC State and Pitt, I wouldn't describe them as finesse teams. Notre Dame, I think, has a pretty good track record against a lot of the finesse teams. So it's a trickier schedule, I think, than last season for sure. But I'll take the Irish to win. Then Fran Brown and Syracuse. I'm a huge fan of Fran Brown. I listened to an interview with him recently. I love his attitude. Classic New Jersey guy, and just is a bad dude. And I appreciate. He's so confident. It's hard not to root for him. And this one's interesting because this one's a fascinating game, if I'm being honest, because
you got some headlines in this one.
Well, you got Steve Angeli, who I think he thought in his mind, that's why he transferred so late, that he was going to get that starting gig. He didn't. So this is his chance to stick it to his former team. My thing is, I just don't know how I feel about Syracuse D-line. Their best defensive lineman hit the portal. I think Notre Dame's O-line is going to have a field day. So I know this series goes back to 1914, so crazy things can happen. But give me the Irish to get it done. What are you doing here?
Yeah, Notre Dame too much senior day. Like you said, you got some headlines on this one. Steve Angeli.
Yeah. And then the final trip of arguably in the regular season. Notre Dame going to the farm to take on Frank Wright's Stanford Cardinal. Oof. I will say this. This series is 100 years old, but if you want to have Stanford on the schedule this year, I do believe that. But I will say this. If you had to pick a time to play Stanford, I would rather it be at the beginning of the year than the end. Now, having said all of this, Notre Dame still wins by 21, at least. But I'm just saying, to me, when you get a team that's so unknown, this mass exodus when they fired Troy Taylor late in the offseason, I would prefer to play them earlier. And Stanford historically has been a weird team for Notre Dame, but I still just think they lack physicality, and Notre Dame is a physical football team. So I will take the Irish to get that dub. How about you?
I will take the Irish too. They like you said, Stanford's got Freeman once. They're not going to get him again. So yeah, Notre Dame 10-2 playoff appearance.
Yeah, 10-2. Now here's what's interesting is obviously they're not in a conference, but the win total is 10.5. So, dude, I thought for sure it was going to be 9.5 when I was doing the exercise. The way I do things when I'm building these things, I look at the games first, then I look at the last thing I see is the win total. So I have them on the under. I don't feel amazing about it. This isn't going to be a lock. If anything, what's hilarious is the odds -190 to make the CFP. That's why they have the best deal in sports.
Yeah.
It's they have the Bobby Bonilla deal or the Pete, they have just a very, very good deal, but plus 1,200 to win the national championship. So if you're an Irish fan, why not? But, I actually think if you're forcing me to place any of the three bets, I would play the under 10.5. But I still am not going to lock any of these. How about you? I just don't think. When's the last time a freshman quarterback won the national championship? You got to go back, I think.
Yeah.
I think Tua came in the game, right? Tua didn't start that thing. When's the last time a freshman quarterback started the game and won the national championship?
Was Trevor Lawrence a freshman?
That's a good question. I didn't come prepared for this.
It might be I don't know if Trevor Lawrence was a freshman or a sophomore when he won it.
I was thinking maybe one of Nebraska's option quarterbacks or something back in the day. I don't know. I was Tommy Frazier maybe as a freshman. I don't know. But I'm on.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I'm with you. I'm on the under. I mean, we went through that gauntlet. We gave them a lot of games. We ended up going with an upset here or there, but I mean, the Miami and A&M games are toss-up games, in my opinion. To start the year, they could very well lose both of those games.
Yeah. And Michael, I know he's a redshirt freshman. I mean, look, and there is a tiny bit of value there, but he still hasn't been on the road in college football.
Yeah, he isn't.
So it's still kind of valid. I mean, I guess I'd rather have a redshirt freshman than a freshman. But at the same time, you still haven't been in lethal environments. The thing I will say, if I am going to nitpick, CJ Carr, I don't consider Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Stadium, a tough environment. I do not. I do not consider Chestnut Hill a tough road environment. I do not consider at Pitt a tough road environment because they play in that NFL stadium and they don't even pack that crowd. And I do not consider Stanford a tough road environment. The only one that I do is Arkansas. So it is a nice road schedule in that regard. Your freshman quarterback on the road, not a lot of obstacles with tough environments. Talking myself into this minus 190 to make the CFP.
If they go 10-2, they're in with the schedule. This isn't last year where they if they lose one early, because there's not a Northern Illinois on. Like, who would be the loss where it'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe they lost that game? Navy? But
I told you it's NC State. It's the NC State game.
Yeah, but the NC State's still going to be a bowl team.
True, but they would already have lost to East Carolina again, and you know how that goes.
I mean, when BC shocks the world, I guess maybe BC. Now BC's going to a bowl again this year too. It's Bill O'Brien.
No, it's a tough schedule, but it is hilarious because the road spots are not that tough. Like from an environment point of view. Yeah. Like I do expect BC. Arkansas is the only place where they have to worry about getting vomited on, right? So, all right.
I think you're sleeping on the Miami one to start the year. I think the Miami one's going to be more hostile.
In my opinion, Miami fans haven't Hard Rock Stadium with the Hurricane have never been lit ever. Like even a Florida State
2017 game, they were pretty fired up for that one. They get up for 2 games, Florida State and Miami, or Florida State.
It's still not like the Orange Bowl was fucking pinnacle of them being lit. Like it was just something about that place. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm on the under, but I guess I'll sprinkle the minus 190 to make the CFP now that we're talking. I know the odds suck on that though, so I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
I don't like the Natty either. I don't think
the freshman is tough.
Next year.
Someone let me know the last time a freshman won a Natty. DM me. All right. Leave it under the YouTube channel comments or something. Can't wait to watch the season though. It's fascinating. I think Notre Dame is headed in just an amazing trajectory. So it's going to be fascinating to in their running back room, as Michael Parks is saying, fantastic. Their O-line, fantastic.
Yep.
Look, it wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me if the over hit here because I don't feel confident about my under. They very well could beat A&M. They very well could beat. I had them losing to either NC State or USC. But it is a tougher schedule than last year for sure. Like for sure, you could basing it off last year. What Arkansas didn't make a bowl, but they beat. Did Arkansas make a bowl? They didn't make a bowl, right?
Yeah, they did.
But they beat Tennessee. I know they beat a playoff team. So if you're looking at this year's schedule. What, Purdue and Stanford are the only teams that didn't make a bowl. A lot harder of a schedule, in my opinion.
Yep.
Anyway, folks, we'll be right back because we're previewing the UCLA Bruins. All right, right after this. They're an interesting team too. They got a bunch of obviously they won the Nico sweepstakes, right? Nothing like a sweepstakes where you take a pay cut, right? We're going to talk about the Bruins in the Big Ten year 2 with Deshaun Foster next. We're breaking down all 136 teams. Subscribe, youtube.com/the college experience. Get on over there. Hit that like and subscribe button. And give Moneyline Mac a follow on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The college football experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And remember to check out the slideshow. Notre Dame. Get yourself out to a Notre Dame football game. They do college football right in South Bend, all right? Till next time, folks, this is the college football experience, Fighting Irish style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Mailbox 1. You have 7 old messages.
1. I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart my body and soul, or nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun my body and soul, or nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo my body and soul, or nothing without truth. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're nothing without yourself. We're the obsession to be be a part of that, started that. Mind over matter don't matter in the markets. I've seen much smarter cats have heart attacks. Largely cause leaders need lambs to be lethargic. Match wits with the half-wit phantom. I don't need jumper cables or mic cords to analyze an analytical anthem. Between my two ears, an engine pumping the life force. Force field for your grip on the grievance. Still gonna feel unchallenged and bored stiff. So arrange the pieces to prepare cohesive. All the hard work will go largely ignored if your hands are covered with post-its and paper cuts. You need to have your voice in the vice grip. The one who made it famous ain't the one who made it up. You don't get overtime just for working the night shift.
I'm taking a piss right now. It's like
I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart mind, body, and soul, or nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun mind, body, and soul, or nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo mind, body, and soul, or nothing without truth. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're nothing without yourself. Every time I close my eyes, I'm taken to the same place, a playing field, and every contestant's got the game face. Everybody's yelling, you ought to play it safe. Make sure them shoes are tied and ankles taped. Shake the cobweb, hit the ground running. This is how cunning I can get with the footwork. You're doing it right, well, it shouldn't hurt. Flirt with greatness, still I run the famous. Nice high heels, I got mics for spikes. Trampling the home team and the turf for life. For the few fleet of foot, too fast for me. I fear none, cause I run and ignore the pair of feet by the tree that are fast asleep. In love with the game, you adore the head. I believe in achievement. My soul isn't rewarded just cause it sees a goal and moves toward it. I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart mind, body, and soul, or nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun mind, body, and soul, or nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo mind, body, and soul, or nothing without truth. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're nothing without yourself. Conspiracy theories, gotta love them clearly. Nothing's more entertaining than entertaining a query. Just the words of the wise and the weary. Recognize the authors of reality and theory. Theoretically, I could have won Scribble Jam. In reality, I lost to a legend. Theoretically, I'm best friends with Uncle Sam. In reality, I've never even met him. Now one day my potential may become reputation. Until then, I'm still a work in progress. I suggest you question what I'm saying. If anything,